Hi folks, and welcome back. You can see I'm not at the allotment yet. I've got my all-important morning coffee in the back garden. Oh, that's the stuff. Now, before we go up to the allotment today, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. And I've just discovered we have nettles growing in the garden, and I've discovered that by brushing my ankle up against this one. Look at this, little devil. Yes, we'll do. I just want to mention a few things in the back garden quickly, but the update I want to give you is more about the house than the back garden. But a lot has changed. I can't do a proper tour without Jess. We've done lots of back garden tours, if you've missed them this year, kind of converting our garden into a bit of a cottage garden. And the most dramatic thing at the moment is these dahlias. Look at this absolute bush. It's just gigantic. One of the lupins holding on for dear life. These have generally not been a success story in the garden though. Here's one that's come over from the allotment. A nice little feverfew. I think we will get that before it goes to seed, but I do love this one. Really, really nice. And unfortunately the sweet peas are now just about done. I think we might get another flash, but these have been just stupendous all season long. Really, really impressive. We do normally do a bit more of a tidy, we need a lawn mow. Look at all these sweet pea pods that have just been left on the ground. I did just want to shout out to these cosmos. Obviously, like I say, we normally deadhead and go around and make it look a bit pretty before a tour, but these have just been absolutely phenomenal. There were just dozens and dozens of flowers on here the other day. And something else I wanted to update on was the let pot. Now you might remember this. I did set up the let pot hydroponic system, and we've got in here now in this trough one of my chili peppers, my champion chili, and some phlox flowers. And unfortunately what I did, I had lots of really good success with that let pot system, loads of nice salads, but my chilies and the flowers I just left in there way too long. If you're going to use it as getting things started and then planting them out or planting them on, you've got to do it much sooner than this. And these have been in here probably a month now, to be honest, and they have not moved. There's probably a lot of more research we need to do about transplanting something from hydroponic to soil, but very, very cool. I'm glad that they got as far as they did, and very, very interesting to see. The other big change as well, the asters are out, and I spent so long waiting to see what these would do, and there's a really nice mix of colours all over the garden, these purples and whites, and this Nepeta that Jess bought is fantastic and always full of bees. I can see a few doing their thing. A really, really lovely plant. If we can have a bit more Nepeta next year, I think we will. And a quick mention to Jess's roses. All of the David Austin roses have had a really good show. Unfortunately, every single time we do videos, we just about miss them. So a load of them have just gone over now. They've had a really nice flash, but one issue this year is with the weather and the wind. Just as soon as the flowers are looking nice, we'll get that wind come through and they all just end up on the floor. But one other thing I did want to show you. Up the back there, can you see some lovely dark green vegetation over there? These are looking very, 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 very good. This one needs a bit of sorting out, and they all need quite a lot of side shooting. Back here we have my spare quad grow full of tomatoes. Now it's slightly tricky to see because of this early morning light, but in here we've got 4 exquisitely healthy tomatoes actually. These are looking amazing, and it's a bit of a surprise because these were kind of the stragglers, I think. If my memory serves me correctly, I've got everything in the greenhouse, everything in the polytunnel, got all that done, and then I had a few spares left over, and I thought we'll get them in the quad grow in the back garden. And this is not a fantastic place for them. This is quite a shady bit of the garden, but we've got this kind of trellis which just hides the sheds and that at the back. And I thought, well, put them up against that, see how they do. Oh my goodness, look at these. This is one of my Apero, which is doing absolutely fantastically in the polytunnel, and it looks pretty good up here. Look at these nice trusses. Whoa. This is the one I just showed you that's kind of poking out. It needs a little more training. I might just be able to, okay, we'll get that after with a nice cut. Next to that, we've got, this has turned into a bit of a double leader, which sometimes I just leave. When you get a really big side shoot that's quite far up a developed plant, you can just kind of convert it into a double stem sometimes. And this is the indigo blue chocolate, which I've spoken about a lot. My favourite tomato of last year, probably. Getting up to a really good, nearly 6 foot high now. really, really good. And there's a few trusses on here. These have normally got quite a distinctive point, which these ones don't, but very, very excited. This is actually a Brad Gates tomato, the indigo blue chocolate. So a few people have asked me if you can get it in the UK, but unfortunately you can't. Brad Gates, who is of course the Brad behind Brad's Atomic. I am so pleased to have another indigo blue tomato, because I've got two in the greenhouse, in the polytunnel. One looks good and one doesn't look so good. I did a full tomato tour recently, if you missed that. Next to this, we've got the black cherry, a classic, a really, really prolific, nice, tasty tomato. Really, really good cherry for salads in particular. And this is my very, very late contribution to the sucker challenge, which is something we spoke about on our live stream, trying to see if you can take a sucker kind of towards the end of the season, late July, August, and whether or not we'll get any fruit from that is the idea behind the challenge. But black cherry growing really well as well, actually incredibly well. There's one sucker in here that I've missed. Let's get you. These feel a little limp actually, which normally means the reservoir is low. It actually looks okay. I should mention, I've just been using a good old-fashioned bottle of Tomarite. We've had this for a few years, nearly finished, but that's what I'm using in here this year. And you can see pretty good results. The black cherry is this one, which is reaching for the sky. Really, really cool. And then next to that, we've got my favorite, the classic, the Black Moon, which doesn't have any fruit on just yet. And I did quite a bad job of tying this one in. So you can see we've got a bit of a wibbly wobbly stem. Can you see that? Mini side shoot. So this isn't the healthiest one back home, but we've got a really nice few starting to ripen. So we'll have a look at that in the polytunnel in a minute. But first, you might have just noticed in the background, we've got a bit of scaffolding on the house, and there's a whole story here. I'll try and keep a long story short, but basically we've had rogue traders in the area and we were nearly scammed out of thousands of pounds. Unfortunately, some of our neighbours have been scammed out of thousands and thousands of pounds. And basically what happened, I've been needing to get work done on our gutters and our roof for quite a long time, and I've really struggled to find people that are doing it. And we had a knock on the door. There was a roofer a few doors down who'd set up scaffolding, got all the works up, and he said, oh, we've spotted a few of your tiles need, replacing, which I knew about. And I thought, oh, yes, fantastic, come in, I'll show you the back, I'll show you what other work we need doing. And we agreed like 400 quid for the works. Anyway, it's so stressful. Basically, it turns out they were complete and utter scammers. And what they started doing, ripping up all our tiles, breaking all of the roof felt that goes under the tiles to keep it all properly watertight. And then the next thing they know, they're asking for £8,000 to replace the entire roof, because obviously everything's gone. On this old house, everything's gone. Everything needs complete and utter replacing. Thankfully, I knew the vibes were off. I knew that it wasn't right. So basically we told them to do one. Thank you very much, but goodbye. Please replace everything. They'd already broken all the felt, and they wanted £2,000 to fix it. It's just obvious scam. When you're there though, and they're in your house, and it's about to start stormy raining, really high pressure, and quite a difficult situation. The thing was, we assumed, because they'd set up a few doors down and they had the scaffolding and everything, we just kind of assumed that someone had vetted them, someone had got them in to do the work, but it turned out they'd knocked on their door as well and done that. Oh, we spotted a bird nest under one of your tiles, can we get up there? And then they get up there, do exactly what they did to us, make some damage, say, oh, that'll be thousands of pounds to repair it, please. It's the sort of thing that really makes you wonder how they sleep at night. But thankfully, we also have a friend now who does scaffolding, and we were able to get that up yesterday, basically 2 days after they did all the damage, and we basically just got away with it. But I was pretty close to giving them money, and when they're doing the hard sell and saying, you need to get this fixed, like it's about to start raining, if you don't get this fixed, it's going to get worse and cause more damage. I'm so glad that we just kind of had the courage to say, no, go away, thank you very much. Unfortunately, our neighbours have not been so lucky, and they gave them quite a lot of cash. They've done a runner, basically. So just a bit of a just a bit of a word of warning, you know, it's one of those things you think, that'll never happen to me, would it? You know, I remember used to watch those TV shows back in the day, like Watchdog and Road Traders and that kind of thing. But this is so much worse. They're not traders. They're just complete and utter scammers. They'll get in your house, cause some damage, ask for thousands of pounds to fix it, and then do one. Just horrible. But a few reasons I wanted to show it. One, the reminder, door-to-door salesmen, do not have them in your house. And second, got a lot of DIY on the horizon, so the channel's already been pretty quiet, but this is going to mean it's quieter in the near future. I was meant to go from talking about the scaffolding to cutting to the allotment and, you know, going into the next chapter of the video, but I just had to bring you back to the back of the garden because I've done a load of work, and when you're a YouTuber, a gardening YouTuber, if you don't show people that you've done the work, it's like you've never done it at all. And I need the validation, you know, I need to pat myself on the back to feel good about myself. But basically, a little while ago, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, I spent loads of time back here. This has always been, the other side of the trellis at the back of the garden is the no man's land. It's the storage, it's the working area. We have one at the allotment, but we have one in the back garden too. But look, this is so much tidier. But I wanted to mention what's going on over here. In this bag, in this builder's bag, we've got a mix of kind of homemade compost that I make in a little Dalek composter, which is just over here. Nothing special, just a little thing. Got some grass clippings, a lot of food waste that doesn't make it up to the allotment, a little bit of rat protection in there. But what is also in here is a load of topsoil that we bought a long time ago when we first started working on the garden, and I put in a raised bed along here. We got 2 builder's bags full of soil and a mixture of compost and topsoil, and it was actually pretty good. The stuff has grown in it fantastically, but for the longest time it's just been kind of dumped. At the end we use it every now and then for topping up the beds and that kind of thing, but the plan is basically to slowly start moving this to the allotment, and what I've got is just compost bags that I'm filling up with it, and this will be a great little just addition for a lot of my raised beds. It's very free draining, this stuff. Quite sandy, but I think for the allotment that is actually going to be, you can see it's dry, blowing everywhere in my face. Excuse me, sorry, in my face. But yes, I thought that just worth mentioning, and Jess is very happy that this is no longer absolutely clogged with loads and loads of stuff, and it will be really nice to get rid of this properly and to top up the beds. Let's go to the allotment. Hi folks, we are back at the plot, and something very funny to show you to start. Oh dear me. Last video we were planting out some squashes. First courgettes that are actually ready to harvest down here, which is very exciting. But look at this. Why is this little bit of bed cursed? The foxes just will not let me plant anything in it. And I think this has happened last night because this plant looks remarkably healthy for something that's just been dug up. So what I'm going to do is just quickly plant it, and I'm going to plant it under here, which is actually just a very quick haphazard pumpkin protection, because this pumpkin has also been absolutely decimated by the wildlife. And if I just pop it under here, it might survive. Probably not, but hey ho. Now, what was the plan for today's time at the allotment? Well, basically, it's a bit of a cop-out answer, but I just want to enjoy myself. I don't know what's happened, but today I'm feeling much more relaxed than I have been. Oh wow, this is tough. This has had so much manure. This is so tough. I won't spend too long talking about the soil again, like I have been in every other video. Where have I put it? Okay. Good luck, young squash. You've had a hard start to life, and if you can survive this, you'll be absolutely grand. A hero amongst squash plants. Let's just place this back on. Hopefully this is going to protect the pumpkin. Don't hide your trowel. So yeah, I just want to kind of catch my breath today and just really enjoy being up here. There's lots to do. There's always lots to do, isn't there? But I still haven't got those beans out. It must be so late now. I think they've been in the greenhouse like 2 months, but we might try and get those out today. But let's look in the polytunnel. Oh, this is so good. just feast your eyes on this. This black moon is going ballistic. I was up here Friday night, so just 2 nights ago, and everything is growing so much. I gave everything a good water and a feed on Friday, and it looks like it's immediately hit the tomatoes, and everything on this side looking really good. Look at the chili jungle. I can barely contain myself. This is incredible. It really feels like a little bit of the enjoyment is coming back into the allotment for me. Not sure why. I had yesterday off, I just didn't come up. Normally every Saturday and Sunday I am here, and Saturday I just said, you know what, I've got other stuff to do. We had all the scaffolding business going up, so first tomatoes to harvest. These are the Apero. Let's get a few of these, yes. I'm so happy. This is what it's about. This is the first proper tomato harvest for me. It's only small, but it's more than 1 or 2. I have sneaked 1 or 2, but this is the first time I'm going to be bringing any home, and I've got 3 that I want to show you. The first is this one, the Apero, which is meant to be the best tasting cherry on the market according to Chiltern Seed. It's quite long. It's a really good size, like a nice chunky cherry. Really nice balanced tomato. Kind of medium sweetness, medium acidity, and just fantastic. Really nice texture on this one. A few of the early ones I've noticed have had a really hard skin this year, but this one, perfect. Oh yes. Next one is this one, the Chirola. Another cherry, but this one not so long. I guess the other one looks a bit like a baby plum. This one proper, just circle. Haven't grown this for 4 years. This is from just a couple of seeds I had left over in the seed packet. Oh, yeah. I don't think Apero can claim to be the best tasting cherry on the market for me. Tomato market. Wow, that one is just beautiful, beautiful texture. Really nice, very similar flavour profile, but just slightly better for me. And this one is my first Black Moon. I get lots of questions about this because people are growing it because of me and because of Grown Local, who has kind of popularised this, I think it's fair to say. And it stays purple on the plant and really dark for a super long time. People always say, how do you know when it's ready? But it turns a very, very different shade of red. And once it's this kind of red with a little bit of dark kind of lining at the top, that means it's ready. Chunky tomato. This is quite a small one. This is one of the early ones. It can get much bigger than this. Divine. Really nice, once again, quite a balanced tomato. Much more of a salad tomato than a cherry. Quite a thick, fleshy wall, just delicious. Maybe it could have been on the plant a few days longer. Oh, finally, the taste of tomatoes. So just a small tomato harvest, but this looks like a sea of vegetation on the chilies, doesn't it? But when you go lower, there's actually quite a lot of ripe fruit on here, and it's because of the pot boundedness of my chilies. I've done lots of videos on the chilies and growing them and the kind of issues I've had this year. A very good year, don't get me wrong, but seeing this amount of fruit on my Ring of Fire, this is an early variety, but it's a little bit early. I'd like to be seeing this kind of amount of fruit in a good few weeks from now. So I'm gonna get in here and do a little chili harvest too and see how it's looking. Wow, it is hot in there already, but look at this. Look at these. Look at this one. Incredible. The Antep Achydelma. Got a few chilies. We've got to taste them, haven't we? We've got to taste them. These, the Antep Achydelma, the California Wonder, they've been a little bit slow, but I've had some nice harvests of these. This is like 500 Scoville, really mild, just enough to add a little bit of a zing, a little bit of a zest. I did give Jess one of these the other day. She was unamused. Slightly too spicy for Jess somehow. It's like, I can't even taste the spice on these, but Antep Achydelma. California Wonders have been a bit slower, but there's some on the plant. They're just traditional sweet bell peppers looking really good. And the Beaver Dam as well has been fantastic. So I'm gonna take that one home. I know how that tastes, but this, very exciting. It's not exotic, but my first jalapeno harvest. Now this is the chili chump jalapeno. It's not just any jalapeno. I did see Tony C. Smith had an entire basket full of these. He's really nailed his chili peppers this year. And mine are looking okay, but not many fruits on the jalapeno yet. So hopefully we're gonna get a late harvest. find out. I'm nervous about this because jalapenos are not hot, but the chili chunk one is meant to be. Such a good size on it. And wow, so smoky. I love that smoky flavour that you can get in a chili pepper. Good flavour, nice little bit of sweetness, not crazy, not like the Sugar Rush varieties, but really good. You can see there, you can see just how thick the walls are on these. Really nice, and a decent bit of spice. It's just getting going. As you go further up the chili, it gets hotter and hotter. So if you want to get a taste of the flavour profile of a chili, start at the bottom. Whew. The other thing, of course, if you're tasting chilies, start with the mild ones and work your way up, because if you start with a super hot, your mouth's going to be on fire and you're not going to be able to do much distinguishing of flavours. This next one I grew last year and it was an instant favourite. This is my mild Korean, or my mild gochu, sent by Audrey from Real Food Comes Dirty. A really nice smoky flavour profile, quite sweet. See how they're doing this year. This one's slightly overripe, so extra sweet but gone super soft. Very, very mild. Oh yeah, really nice fruity flavour on this one. Not so much smoke. There's the heat. There is the heat. Oh, I always had this one down as a mild one. These are hot this year. That felt like it was getting around 10,000. Halfway down. Should not be that hot. Okay, that one's caught me out a little bit. Next up, the Champion. One that I did last year, and I did declare this one of my favourites. This is a Baccatum. Traditionally, they're slightly floral, more fruity flavours. I've taken a few of them. They're really firm, so I think they're a little underripe. But last year, this was one of my all-time favourites in terms of like nice mild heat, but super, super flavour profile. Let's find out how it is this year. Oh, so good. So good. Sweet, zesty, mild, so mild. Yeah. Still one of my all-time favourites. Oh wow. I gave out a lot of these seeds last year because I harvested so many. So if you're on my Patreon, ask for some seeds. I don't think you'll regret growing these. They are so sweet and so flavourful. The Korean one has caught me out, so I'm getting absolutely no heat from this, but incredibly prolific growers, these as well. Oh, yes, what a winner. Next up, another one I did last year, and you might notice a theme here. I'm doing a lot of varieties that I did last year, which I knew were fantastic. And this is one I've been growing for many years, the Ring of Fire. Around 80,000 shu, kind of double the heat of a cayenne, traditional chili pepper. Okay, slightly, excuse me. This one has gone slightly over, which doesn't make it great for fresh eating. They kind of dry out a little bit, it goes super squidgy. Still usable in a sauce. Found a different one. Ah, fantastic. Super fruity and sweet. It always always surprises me how much flavour these guys pack. 5-second rule. A beautiful chili pepper. So prolific, so early, really fruity. Oh, so fruity. This is my favourite one. It's got that dry, kind of a dry heat on these. And that smokiness, it's just so good. That cayenne flavour, I love it. I love these so much. This is my favourite sauce pepper, because making a Louisiana style sauce with these, just the right amount of heat for me. Oh, brilliant. That one has caught me out a little bit, folks. I'm not sure if it's that. I'm not sure if they're all a little bit spicier this year, or if I've just not been eating as much spicy food at home. Maybe my tolerance has reduced a little bit. Ring of Fire does subside quite quickly though, thankfully. The ones that don't tend to subside so quickly are the Chinense varieties, and I'm feeling a bit fruity. I'm feeling a little bit adventurous, a little bit up for it today, and this is my first Hainan Yellow Lantern. I'm feeling that ring of fire, I really am. And yeah, this is first Chinense, kind of a habanero vibe on this. This one a little bit firm, maybe slightly underripe, but there's absolutely dozens of these on the plant already. Very prolific. Experiencing a slight chili high already. It's not what I had planned today. It's meant to be working, but I can't resist it. So that's just a very small amount of this. No milk or ice cream on hand, and I think this is around 300,000 shoes, so let's be sensible. I always say I'm not that much of a chili head. You know, I don't eat, raw chilies are so much hotter than anything in a sauce or a dish that you've cooked. You don't want to mess around with them, you know. Whoa, okay, whoa. That is a really disgusting texture. That's not a heat well, that is a disgusting texture. What? And like, I'm getting no flavour from this. Is really, really confusing. The texture on this one, I'm not sure if you can see, but a very thick wall actually, and then within just really squidgy and kind of gross. No, it's so strange because it's so firm to the touch, but inside is actually really, really squishy and gross. And normally with the Chinense you get a really distinct smell. I'm not getting anything, but that's potentially just because of the ring of fire getting my nose going. Ever so slight Chinense flavour. This is really, really confusing me. Oh, that is so disgusting. Okay, there's the heat. Maybe a slight apricot-y vibe. Almost like a, oh, there's the heat. There's the smell. Reminds me a little bit of a, this is a strange comparison, but that slight apricot flavour of a chanterelle mushroom. I don't know if you've ever foraged for those, but very distinct apricot smell and flavour. And I'm getting a bit of, this is a mind-bending experience. I was expecting this to be mind-meltingly hot and strong of flavour, and maybe I've just got a weird one. But I'm not going to take, I'm not taking my chances with these again. We'll see how these go. They're meant to be really good for sauces, so maybe that's why the texture is a bit funky. That's it, I'm done with the chili testing. No, I hadn't really planned to spend so long doing chili and tomato tasting today, but like I say, I came up with no plan and just wanted to see what the plot had to offer me today, you know, like I came up no pressure, just feeling pretty relaxed. And don't get me wrong, there's a massive to-do list, but I'm just not worried about it today. Sometimes you've got to just turn off that bit of your brain and just enjoy what life has to offer, and that's what I've been doing. A massive smile on my face. It feels like today I'm feeling that kind of allotment glee that I've not quite been feeling this year. You know, I've been enjoying it. I've been finding the enjoyment, but not feeling those proper highs. And today it's come back, you know, I'm feeling good, but also very hot and sweaty. So I think what I'm gonna do is pot around for a bit, you know, do some other bits, put the camera down, not worry about too much, and just enjoy things, you know? What a gorgeous day, folks. I've just found a really nice little job, which is basically shelling all of the dried peas that I left on the alderman plant. And I've just been sat here for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes just podding these. And you know, when you get that nice feeling of just a little bit of contentment and relaxation that you can get when gardening sometimes. Just feels like you're in the right place, you know? I absolutely love it. And at the end of this, we're gonna have a really nice stock of my own homegrown alderman seed. And I must admit, I don't do this very often, you know, going to the trouble of sort of preserving and saving your own seed, but it is one of my favorite things. It is a really, really great feeling when you know you can be self-sufficient in seeds. I do a lot of F1 varieties and that kind of thing. Especially for something like cucumbers, where you know you can get the female-only varieties, and it's just so worth it. You know, F1 varieties are kind of magical in their own way, but a very, very cool feeling harvesting and storing your own seed. I was talking to Grown Local the other day actually, who does have a flash sale on at the time of recording. Hopefully it's still on, but I'll leave a link to the website below. Do go and have a look. There's sort of 40% off a load of seeds, and if you use my 10% code, you can get half price seeds. You know, it takes up to 50%, so really cool. Loads of chili seeds on there, so if you're looking for chili seeds next year, and I saw the Super 7 propagator is on sale as well, so do go and check that out if you're in the market. But yes, Growing Local is talking about getting a... My phone's going. My phone is always going. But Growing Local is talking about getting an autumn sown pea in. I've just remembered sowing these, and I've never done sort of autumn and wintering peas, so it might be quite exciting. This is hopefully plenty of seeds for next year. I think I've got a few left over from this year as well, so that's a pretty good harvest, isn't it? I have been doing a few other little bits and bobs as well, nothing too exciting, but this basil is starting to get a bit pot bound or too hot in the greenhouse, so starting to go to seed. So I've been planting a bit of that out. Some of it's gone in the L bed over there, probably to get slugged, but I do need to get the rest of this out as well. And over here, there's just a few more little harvests. Taking home a little mini cabbage. I've been doing lots of deadheading just on the flowers, and I've got loads of calendula seed. I just find that such an easy one to, you know, pick up the seed heads and just drop them in. And my mum was saying she wanted a few of those, so I've saved lots and lots. We got a few spring onions to take home, a little bit of sorrel as well, which I'm always taking little dribs and drabs home. You don't want too much in the salad, but a little bit just adds a bit of interest. First, courgette, a little bit of a funky one, we'll see, but very, very happy. And of course, all of the chilies and tomatoes that you've seen earlier. And look just down here in the greenhouse. We've got a little aubergine developing quite nicely, and you can see there's a bit of slug damage on here, and what I've just done is cut away, done a bit of pruning around that, so there's at least a little bit of sun getting into there. I took home a harvest of about 20,000 cucumbers just the other day as well. Battery is about to die, so I'm going to say thank you ever so much for joining me, and an extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper tier patrons. Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, Andrew, Sarah, Dorcasaur, Louise, Angela, Andre and Brett. You are absolute stars, and hopefully I will see you all in the next one. Hopefully it'll be as gorgeous as it is today as well.